Okie dokie, we are on chapter 9. Today's going to be our last day of this Magic Treehouse book, which is called
Tigers at Twilight.
Tigers at Twilight. We are on chapter 9 called The Hermit. And as you remember, just to refresh your memory, I'm going to read the last little paragraph. So it said, Jack and Annie followed them, Kat and Co. They went around the bend. They saw a man sitting cross-legged on a rock. The langurs sat close to him. The man's eyes were closed. He had long white hair and a long white beard. His skin was brown and he looked very peaceful. Kat and Co smoothed the man's hair with their little paws and patted his cheeks gently. The man smiled and whispered to the langurs. His eyes stayed closed. Teddy walked up to the man and licked his hands. The man still didn't open his eyes, but he stroked Teddy's fur. Knock, knock, said Annie softly. Is someone there? The man asked. He turned his face toward Jack and Annie. Now his eyes were open, but he did not seem to see them. Jack realized that the man was blind. Hi, I'm Annie, said Annie. And I'm Jack, said Jack. The blind man smiled. Good, he said, nodding. Would you like to visit with me? Sure, said Annie. She and Jack sat down next to the man. Do you live in the forest? Annie asked. Yes, he said. Are you a hermit? Jack asked. Yes, the blind man said. What's a hermit? Said Annie. Hermits live far away from other people, said the blind man. We like to be alone to think. I live in the forest so I can learn from nature. How do you learn? Asked Jack. I listen, said the blind man. Listen to what? Asked Jack. To the chatter of the monkeys, the rumble of the elephants, the roar of the tiger, said the man. I have listened for so long, they've all begun to sound like one voice, the one great voice of the forest. Did the voice tell you that a tiger got caught in a trap last night? Asked Annie. Yes, the hermit said. And did it tell you that after we saved him, he tried to attack us? Said Jack. The blind man smiled. Please bring me one of the white flowers floating on the stream, he said. Jack wondered why the hermit was changing the subject. But Annie jumped up and hurried to the stream. She pulled one of the large flowers. It came up, muddy root and all. She took it to the blind man. My friends, I'm not sure why we're crawling around on the back of the carpet. Sit on your pockets, please.
That's very weird.
My friend, well then you can check it out later because your eyes should have been up on me. Thank you, he said. The man touched the flower's large white petals and its sturdy root. The perfect lotus blossom grows from the dark, thick mud, he said. Its beauty cannot live without its ugliness. Do you understand? Yes, said Jack and Annie. When you saved the tiger, you saved all of him, said the blind man. You saved his graceful beauty and his fierce, savage nature. You cannot have one without the other. Oh, right, said Jack. Take this lotus as a thank you gift from all the forest for saving our fierce friend, said the blind man. Our world would not be complete without him. Annie took the gift from the hermit. A gift from a forest far away, she said. Arf, arf, Teddy wagged his tail. The langurs clapped. We can go home now, said Jack, if we can just find the way. Do not worry, said the blind man. Your house is in the tree close by. The elephants walked in a large circle, so you're back at the place where you started. Really, said Jack. The blind man pointed to the sky. There was the magic treehouse high in a nearby tree. Oh, great, breathed Jack. I told you not to worry, said Annie. She and Jack pulled on their socks and shoes and stood up. Before they left, Annie touched the hand of the blind man. Thanks for everything, she said. The man held her hand for a moment. Then he took Jack's hand. Jack felt a wave of calm rush over him. Thank you, he said to the blind man. Ka and Co chattered and held out their long arms. Jack and Annie hugged the two langurs. We'll miss you, said Annie. You were great tour guide, said Jack. Goodbye. Then he and Annie took off for the magic treehouse, with Jack scampering after them. At the rope ladder, Jack put Teddy into his pack and climbed up. Annie carried the lotus blossom as she followed them. Inside the treehouse, Jack picked up the Pennsylvania book. But before he made a wish, he looked out the window with Annie. In the distance, they saw Saba and the other elephants bathing in the stream. They saw Ka and Ko swinging on vines. They saw the tiger sunbathing in the grass, licking his sore leg. I'll take that to the end, okay? They saw tiny deer grazing. They saw bright birds in the trees. They saw the blind man sitting in front of his cave, and he was smiling. Jack opened the book. He pointed to a picture of the Frog Creek woods. "I wish we could go home," he said. The treehouse started to spin. The wind started to blow. It spun faster and faster. Then everything was still. Absolutely still. Chapter 10. Who are you really? Who do you think they're talking about?
The blind man.
You think?
Yeah.
Jack opened his eyes. Late afternoon sunlight shined into the treehouse. "Our third gift," said Annie. She put the lotus blossom beside the pocket watch from the Titanic and the eagle's feather from the Lakota Indians. Girls, no thank you. "One more gift," she said to Teddy, "and you'll be free from your spell." The little dog licked her hand. "Hey, tell me this," said Jack. "How did you know Teddy wanted us to hide behind that rock?" Annie shrugged. "I just knew," she said. "I think I saw it in his eyes." "You did?" Jack looked into Teddy's eyes. The little dog tilted his head and stared back at Jack. Teddy's eyes twinkled as if they held many secrets. "Who are you really?" whispered Jack. Teddy just smiled a doggy smile and wagged his tail. "Come for us again soon," Annie said, "okay?" Teddy sneezed as if to say, "Of course." Jack grabbed his pack, then he and Annie climbed down the rope ladder. When they stood on the ground, they looked up. A little black nose was poking out of the treehouse window. "Bye," they called. "Arf, arf." Jack and Annie took off between the trees. Birds sang in the twilight. Squirrels scampered playfully through the leaves. The Frog Creek woods were very tame after the forest in India. Soon they came to their street. As they walked to their house, the last bit of daylight was slipping away. Before they went inside, Jack and Annie sat on their steps. "I have 2 questions," said Jack. "If the hermit couldn't see, how did he know about the treehouse? And how did he know that we had traveled all night with the elephants?" "Easy," said Annie. "The one great voice of the forest told him." Said Jack. He closed his eyes for a moment and listened. He heard a car going down the street. He heard a woodpecker pecking. He heard crickets chirping. He heard a screen door opening. He heard a mom saying, "Time for dinner, kids." All the sounds were like one great voice, the one great voice of home.
Maybe Teddy doesn't have a spell, and someone was turned into a dog, and that's the spell.
You think? Okay. Ronnie?
When the tiger got hurt, that reminded me of my dog because my dog, my brothers always let her out of the gate and she like runs off. And she runs off and then she came back. We found her like laying in tall grass with like a wounded paw. There was like blood on the paw.
Oh, yikes.
I actually don't want to spoil it for you.
Hassan?
Look what I'm reading.
Lorenzo?
So I think Morgan is the dog because she got turned to a mouse. So she might be the dog.
Do you think? That would be a good prediction.
Oh, I think
Madison,
Morgan.
you agree?
I think Morgan wrote that letter before she almost got turned to a dog.
I don't know.
So she wrote it fast.
Yeah, maybe like as she was being turned into a dog. I don't know. Harley?
Right when we always let Merle out. He's a bad dog. It was my husky, and he always runs off.
So, right? So when we saw him, he had a cut on his leg, and
It reminded you of him too.
yeah, and Dot, she was pregnant and blood was coming. So,
Gotcha.
And she had a cut on it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Let's talk about really quick that quote that the old man said. He said, I have to find it again. He said, its beauty cannot live without its its. What do you think that means? Its beauty cannot live without its ugliness. Turn and talk with a partner. What do you think that means? Its beauty cannot live without its ugliness. Chris.
Oh, it cannot live if it doesn't have ugly. We don't know.
It's because the roots.
Hassan, put it in your bag.
It can't live. The roots are.
Wait, but if it doesn't have it ugly, then the forest will die with the animals. The animals die. If they have no food or nothing.
Without the roots, they can't live.
And they need oxygen for trees.
So it can't live without the roots. That's like the body. I know what it is. It's the ugliness.
Okay, 3, 2. Ronnie, what are your thoughts?
It's what he meant was like the roots are the ones that are ugly. It can't live without the roots or it will die. And then
Okay.
that's how the beautiness comes.
Okay. So it grows from that.
Yeah,
Okay.
from the ugliness.
How does that apply to the tiger? What does that have to do with the tiger that they saved?
Like, you know how it was like sitting there letting them like do it? And then when they popped out, he woke up, and then he just started being mean because he didn't know what they were doing.
Well, is he really being mean, or is that just kind of like the nature of tigers? Like, are
It's the
tigers
nature
kind of like,
tigers.
are they tame like dogs that like we
No.
live with? No, otherwise like we probably would have more tigers that are pets, right?
Yeah.
I think there are probably like some tigers that like people have that are a little bit more tame, but they're still tigers, like they're still unpredictable, right?
Yeah.
And that's part of what makes them so beautiful, is that
They're unique.
Yeah, they're fierce and they're unique, right? Virtual friends, thank you guys for joining us, and we will see you tomorrow.